At times there are individuals that for a variety of reasons, it can be because of an accident, it can be because of a medical problem, lose the ability to issue decisions, to make good decisions about health care, medical care. It's called informed consent, legally speaking, but they lose that ability and they need someone else to step in and help them. These can be related to medical, financial, or daily living. A number of years ago, there was a case, Hines v. Auto Club, and in that case, the Supreme Court wisely determined that if a person needs a guardian because of their auto injuries, then that becomes an allowable expense. Since that time, which is a number of years now, guardian fees have been part of no fault. Typically, the decision starts with a medical provider who will talk to either a family member or the care team and say that this person no longer can make these decisions. It can also come at times from courts. This person's out of the hospital and they thought they were doing fine, and the court then sees that an individual needs some help because of maybe criminal matters. It's such a wide variety. Every case must go through a probate court. That's how guardianship works. You have to file your petition and go in front of a judge and convince that judge that the individual lacks the capacity to make those decisions. A guardianship is typically provided by family, but at times there are no family, or sometimes families are dysfunctional. So in those cases, an outside person has to be called in. Now that outside person can be a friend, perhaps even another family member. When no one else is available, you move to a professional guardianship firm, and that would be my area. I always recommend to people that if you're going to go to a professional guardian, that you interview people, because I'll tell families that this is a chemistry business, and if you don't feel a rapport with that professional, you should move on and find someone else, because this is very important work, and you have to remember that at times the guardian is called upon to make life and death decisions, and you want that person to understand your beliefs. As a guardian, we report to the families, the team, the individual too. I mean, it's very important that we talk to our wards, if you will, the injured parties, but ultimately we must report to courts. And we file an annual report every year that talks about the state of the guardianship, and the court does their own independent reviews periodically just to make sure that the guardianship is intact. An area that's often confusing to people is what's the difference between a guardian and a conservator. In a nutshell, a guardianship is over a person, a conservatorship is over the estate, the money. If an estate has more than $10,000, courts require you to go in and file for a conservatorship. Also, if there's a business or real estate, they want you to have a conservatorship, and that's so that someone can't sell a valuable asset and perhaps cheat the ward. So the court wants to oversee that. So we do serve as both on many cases. And another issue that people often get confused about is what's the difference between a guardian and a guardian ad litem. So a guardian is actually the person that takes care of the ward, is appointed. A guardian ad litem is typically an attorney or a social worker who is appointed by the court to go out and interview not only the injured party but others on the team and family to determine if in that person's mind this case meets the state criteria for guardianship. The key advantage is that a professional guardian will typically understand the various benefits available to a client under not only no fault, but it's amazing how many people never apply for Social Security. Some people may be eligible for veterans benefits. There are pensions that might be available to somebody. There's disability from the companies they were working in. The key is to be a good navigator, to get the person through not only the medical community in terms of services that are available, but also the insurance and legal fields. And that is the key advantage to having a professional guardian. We are better equipped to try and maximize the benefits for our clientele. So there's a lot of things that a guardian does behind the scenes. Professional guardians, on a case that is complex, typically are advantageous to someone as opposed to family who may be well-meaning but more emotional about things. Also, professional guardians typically do better with insurance companies just because we have an understanding of the law and what benefits are available, whereas somebody who is a lay person or a family person gets very emotionally tangled in this and feels that an individual deserves something that may not be supported by the law.